Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Geronimo, founder, ProsperityLifeHacks.com, and today we're going to be talking about why you should be a content creator and not a content consumer. Alright, so first things first, technically speaking, you're going to be both. You're going to be consuming content and you're going to be creating content. Although, what I'm looking for with this video is to help make that shift where people are creating their own content instead of feeling the need that they need to overconsume more and more and more content, because you can catch yourself in this loop of I need more content, it's not good enough, I don't know enough, and chances are you already know enough. Now, to the degree of where you're at, maybe that depends on where you're at, but the point is that chances are you already know enough where you can start dishing out content, you can start producing content on whatever platform it may be. So the simple suggestion would be to just get started, because when you get started you can at least get your foot in, and when your foot is in, it's easier to see the next couple steps. Once you get started, it's easier to make the next couple steps. This is why I recommend that you start creating content, whatever it is, on whatever platform. Now, for my beginner recommendation, I would say you can create content on YouTube. You can create content on a blog, although that's a little more advanced. Creating content on YouTube is pretty simple. You just make a video, although depending on, there's a lot more technical aspects to that as well. Although at least you can just make a video and then put it on YouTube and then kind of like just say, here's my video. Whereas on the website, it's more complicated. You have to set up the website, get the host, get the domain, get the theme, create the website, or hire someone to do the website for you. So that approach can be a little more complicated for beginners. Again, I recommend both YouTube and blogging as a kind of way to start funneling in more income. They're great ways to just make more money between blogging and YouTube. And this is like, passive, I guess. It's automated. It's automatic income when you have set up. Although it may take a while before it's actually fully automatic. You can easily make like a grand plus between blogging and YouTube within the first 6 to 12 months. That's very doable. That's a very like a small milestone, in fact. Although for me, when I got it to the 1 grand monthly income, that was a big like relief for me, because I felt like, okay, this dream that I'm pursuing is legit, it's real, and I'm on that path. I just need to keep doing it, refining my strategies, refining my methods, this way that I can start to expand on my options and start to funnel from all different kind of sources. So yeah, I definitely do recommend the blog and the YouTube stuff. And at the very least, like those mediums are like the best mediums, I would say, like just to kind of understand how marketing and advertisement, promoting and creating content works. More on that on a different video. So basically with this video, I'm suggesting that you find a way just to create content that's of your own expression. Doesn't need to be unique content, doesn't even need to be original. Original, in fact, is way overrated, as well as creative. The one thing that I would suggest people is just to simply just do the work, do the content. If it's original, so be it. If it's creative, so be it as well. If it's innovative, that's cool. Like, I consider myself, very creative. I like to get inspiration from multiple different sources and put a spin onto it. And yet at the same time, I've learned that doesn't really matter so much. What does matter is just simply just doing the content. Just create the content, create the work, and let the body of your work speak for itself. And when people see the body of your work, they'll say, okay, I like what you're doing. I like what you're offering. What you do is resonating with me, and I would like more of you. And as that's happening, they may want to, go on your website, buy your product, buy your service. Essentially what this does is that it creates a way of rapport. Like, you see, like, you listening to my sound of my voice right now, we're creating rapport. Rapport is happening. You're either trusting me or you're not trusting me. In either case, at least you're familiar with me. So even if you don't like me on day one, well, at least you're more familiar with me. So this goes with everything and anything in terms of content. So it's like it's really difficult to expect most people just to like you from the very get-go. So in that sense, it's kind of unrealistic. That's why most people, it takes a time to kind of build that up, to build that comfort and familiarity. So it's better is just if you start now, start right away or as soon as you can. When in doubt, you just start now. Now is the best time. Now is the only time, in fact. This way that people can see your content immediately, and as you start to build a body of a work, your name is already out there. Your brand, your company, you, yourself, your skills, your talent is already out there. In fact, I'm a little disappointed in myself for not having started sooner because, quite frankly, I knew enough at 18 where I could have been dishing out content, dishing out content, and dishing out content. But for some reason, I was kind of like chasing this kind of like, oh, I need to know more. I need to know more. And that was wrong, and I had to overcome a lot of my own personal objections, and I did that using many like different strategies and tactics of how to overcome my personal objections. And personal objection is kind of like your excuses or your reasons not to do something. That's what I mean by personal objections. It's like, oh, this is too hard, this is too long, this is too much, not enough money, etc. So I overcame that through so many different ways. I almost don't even want to cover that right now. In fact, I won't. Well, the point being is create content and let people who like your content, they'll follow you, they'll be loyal fans, or they will admire you, they'll respect you, they will want to listen to what you have to say, they'll value your voice. Because again, what we have in this world is really our voice, our opinions, our thoughts, our thinking, our quality of thinking, and I guess the level of influence that we want to change on the world. What is it that we envision? What is it that we vision for the world? How do we want the world to be more of or less of, whichever the case is? And all of that is happening when you create content. When you create content, you're spreading your message, you're spreading your ideas, and you teach what it is that you know. And that's a great way of learning. In fact, that is an absolute great way of learning is that you simply just you learn through the trial and error process. In fact, if I had to suggest one thing of anything of like I have so many strategies in life, if I had to tell someone just one thing, I'll just tell them just do trial and error. Because it comes from that kind of basic thing there, just trial and error. Or in NLP they also refer to it as trial and feedback. Essentially is you try something and you get feedback and then you adjust and tweak your response or whatever it is based on the information that you've just collected and gathered. And this gets you first-hand valuable experience, wisdom, and you pretty much see, okay, what to do or what not to do. And first-hand experience is so invaluable. Now, there's a lot of things that I knew even at 18, but it's like because I wasn't executing it, because I wasn't creating content based on it. Now, I don't blame myself at 18 so much. In hindsight, I don't. It's just that if I knew a lot what I know now, I would have simply just started a long time ago. A lot of these things that I know now, I really could have started at 14 if I had like a little bit of a push or a direction. Because a lot of things that I know now are just really extensions of what I knew at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 in a much more refined way. At 18, I already kind of a good portion of what I know now, I already knew at 18. It wasn't a little like very refined and it wasn't coming from a place of experience. So, and I think I knew that, and that was kind of like making it harder on myself to gain these experience. Because when you're coming from lack, it's really hard to do things. It really is. Like you find yourself stuck, confused, not showing if you want to do it or not to do it, and it creates these like weird problems. Whereas when you're in abundance, I'll be talking about how to cultivate an abundance mindset at some other time, which I think is very, very important that we start to transition from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset, and there's many, many ways to do that as well. And I'll be going over what those things mean on a different video. For now, I'll simply like the guys who are listening to this podcast, to this message, start creating like creative work for your own that's maybe outside of something else that you're already doing. Like especially if you're looking to make a little more money, you can make a grand plus just on the internet. Now this video is not going to be teaching an advanced tactics or anything like that, but point is that you can easily make a grand plus within the next 6 months to 12 months easily with some little effort, doing the trial and error, doing the grind, so to speak, and just simply just doing the work. And over time, it pays off, and it pays off in like by 100x. The work you do now multiplies. Whereas in a job, you can't really say that. Although the benefit of a job is that you have reliable income, so that's great. It's just that I like more of the entrepreneur work because I know that in the future, everything that I'm doing now is gonna pay me 100x or even more. So that's why I like more of the entrepreneur work. Although maybe some of you guys are not into the entrepreneur stuff, or not ready for the entrepreneur stuff, whichever the case may be, I suggest that you at least let the idea sink into mind. This way that you have more options, because more options would be better for you and just gives you a little more kind of wiggle room and a little bit more confidence moving forward in your life. Just simply because more option is good. The more options you have, the better you will be in life. Just because you at least now you have like, alright, I have these things that I can do if I have to kind of do this. If things don't go right, at least I have options. I have backup plans. I have other means of multiplying my income. And even if you're not looking to multiply your money, it's always nice to have your brand, your name out there as a just in case. Because I know that all business today is done online. Online is the best way to do business. Like to me, local business and offline business, that's not. I'm not saying that business is not like is dead, but I just like I feel like business should be done online mostly, because that's where you get all the people are online today. You got all these people on their phones, on the PS4s, on the laptop, etc. The technology is evolving, and that we're really moving away from all these kind of outdated ways of doing business. Although those things probably still work and probably people do good in those things. So again, it's on the people or the person of how it is that they want to do their business. So in this video, I'm just suggesting that you guys maybe find some avenues where you're creating content of your own on YouTube, on blog, or whatever platform. This way that you can obviously make a little more money. You can make a grand, 2 grand, 3 grand, or even more online. And I'll be covering more ways of how to game the system. I'll be teaching you guys a little bit more strategies on that some other video. And also to simply just expand on yourself, because this is really really big, is that you learn by doing, you learn by speaking, you learn by just being creative. That is the one way that we enhance our learnings, is by teaching what we know and doing it, and teach it. If you know it, you teach it, and this way that kind of memory gets powered up or amplified, and it gets strengthened in a way that it's now easier, or it's easier to recall, because now you're teaching it, and because you're teaching it, it's creating more like neurons in your brain, and the memory itself is expanding, it's getting bigger. And essentially what it does is that it means that the things that you teach you learn it even more. In fact, this is the most effective way of learning is teaching. So for beginners, if you are a beginner, my tip would be like let yourself just go through the motion of the trial and error. If what you say is incorrect or false by any chance, that's fine. And I know that I sound like a little like contradiction, like I'm contradicting myself here, because a lot of times like I'm correcting a lot of people's um, incorrect ways of thinking or whatever it is. But for beginners, I would highly recommend that you just speak, just speak, just speak. This way that these things start to build a foundation in of itself for you, and you have the skills and talent are building up. So if you don't have the skills right now, it's got to start from somewhere. And if it's what time better than right now? Seriously, if you're not there yet, or you need to boost up your skills, I would suggest start now. This way that what you do now, you don't have to do as much later. This is what I love. Is like if I do it now, I don't. It's easier for me later. Like that to me is such a big thing because it's like if I do it right now, I don't have to think about it too much later. The thinking gets reduced, it gets reduced, it gets reduced. I do enough thinking, and I don't like to overthink about things anymore. It's like I'm at the point where life is getting simple, it's getting more refined, and as I get more elegant about my strategies and tactics, things are getting more and more simple. So that's what I love about just doing it right now. Is that what you do right now solidifies into your memory. And I think it's neurons, dendrites, and some other word that they use for this. And the learnings get powered up. So which means that your skills and talents are stored more inside your brain. And this way you don't actually have to kind of go through the motion of redoing it over and over and again in a way that's like it's like difficult. Again, it goes back down to practice makes perfect, or practice makes better. That's like a really universal law that will be true always. The more you do something, the more it becomes a part of you. It becomes second nature. So that's why I suggest you start building your skills right now in any way that you can. So just create new content, be a producer, not a consumer. Although at the same time you're going to be doing both because you teach what you consume, or you teach what you know. And at the same time that's you being a producer. Although the point of this video is to get people out of the kind of the consuming, and not knowing what to do with that. So essentially what they can do is they can teach what they learn, they can teach what they know, and it's okay. Even if it's someone else already has it, it's like, well, if they're doing it, you might as well be doing it too. Quite frankly, honestly, you just need to build your own fan base or audience that respect your voice, that respects your growth, that respects your journey, and that respects your thinking or you as a person. And from there on, things will be much better for you in terms of business, in terms of your skills, in terms of your relationships, and just you will be better as a person just because your skills are going to be building up as you do so. Anyways, guys, this is quite a long video. I wasn't expecting to do a 20-minute podcast. So this has been Gerard Merlot, founder of ProsperityLifeHacks.com. If you liked the video, please like the video. Until next time, bye bye now.